and this is All for One, One for All, a beautiful community of people from all over Melbourne, Australia, and well, let's just say the world, because yes, last week we had our first international presenter from, well, a New Yorker, but in Israel. So that's pretty international, I'd say. We're covering all corners of the globe. And for some reason, the camera just seems to be stuck on Alistair's face right now. I don't know why that is, Alistair.
On me myself?
I don't know why it's stuck on you, but anyway, just must have picked the prettiest face it could find. So tonight we have got back David Belfer, who is our Oponopono expert. And we did this a couple of weeks ago, and it was a beautiful experience. And I've put it on gallery view because, David, I know that you like it this way. It's feels like a bit more of a virtual circle. And this is a Hawaiian prayer. It's only it's 4 lines long, isn't it? And David went quite deep into its meaning and the words and what it all means and the music that you can hear with the words in it, and how he discovered it and why he uses it and everything like that. And there was so much more that he wanted to say, and we cut him out of time last time. So we're just horrible people who need to go to sleep at some point. So we have welcomed David back for Oponopono. I hope I'm saying it right. Part 2.
You're saying it pretty close. It's pretty close.
It's getting there compared to the first time I heard it. So welcome, David. Over to you. And what are you going to share with us tonight?
Well, Jerry, thank you very, very much for allowing me to come back for our Ho'oponopono number 2. What number is it, everybody? Number 1 or number 2? Number 2. Put your peace sign up. That's amazing. So with your permission, I'm going to share my screen straight up, because here we go. Tell me if you can see all of that coming up on your screen as well. You can? Awesome, wonderful. So basically what happened the last time is, as Jerry said, we went through quite deeply into a lot of the different things, but there was still a lot of area that we could have gone even deeper. So what I'd like to do is just tell you a little bit about, let's see if this is going to work for me, our screen. Oh, look at that handsome bloke. Look at those arms. I'm working on getting them back again. That's about 3 years ago. I was in a place called Sedona. Has anyone ever been to Sedona in America? It's in the heartland of Arizona, and it is one of the most phenomenal places for me. You can actually feel the energy come from the ground straight up through your bones. It's very, very spiritual. It's a very, very enlightened space. I suppose it's a bit like it's a little bit hippie. It's a little bit lots of things. But one of the main things that occurred for me while I'm there is that I actually had very, very strong connections with, I'll call it spirit, great spirit. So I spent many, many times over the last 5 or 6 years going back to Sedona. Every time I'm in the States, I don't actually go without going to Sedona. And so I think it's actually 5 times that I've been there in the last 6 years. And each time I do go, I learn more about myself. I go there and I hike by myself or with a group of people. But the last 2 times I've been there, it was actually by myself. And it was a great way for me to be able to reconnect with myself, with my spirit, with nature. How many of you love to get out into nature? Just show me by a show of hands. It's fantastic. Now, guys, like last time, this is going to be an interactive thing. So I can see you on the side of my screen, which is great, or most of you. So hopefully you'll be able to just share things as they come up for you. But I asked myself some questions tonight. I thought to myself, well, why me? Why have I been given the honor or the gift to be able to share this with you? The first answer to that is, why not? It's actually something that's there for everybody. And the concept of the Ho'oponopono being a healing prayer or a healing process is something that is going to allow thousands upon thousands of people right now to be able to use this process to be able to heal themselves and those around them. And the beauty of it, as we spoke about a couple of weeks ago, was that they don't even need to know what's going on. How many of you like to be able to do some cleaning and nobody knows you're actually doing it? How many of you would like to have other people cleaning for you and you don't even know they're doing it? So that's one of the wonderful things that comes up about this. So why now? I think because of the way the world is for all of us, it's a very, very strange time. You know, we here in Melbourne, we may be going back into lockdown again. We'll wait and see what the next couple of weeks brings up. But there's a lot of people that have a lot of time on their hands, more time on their hands than perhaps only a couple of months ago. A lot of the kids are now back out on school holidays again, so that time might be needed to be redistributed again. So by looking at that, by having something that can keep you nice and calm, how many of you have kids at home with you? Just raise your hands for me. Great. So they need a lot of entertaining, unless they're old like my kids, in which case they're out all the time anyway. But if they do need some entertaining, imagine if you could teach them this process as well and make it a fun game. So there's lots of different ways of being able to do that. So I came up, these are all questions that came up for me actually through the day. And I thought to myself, well, who inspires me? And there's so many people that inspire me. And the fact that, you know, people on this screen inspire me. You know, my wife inspires me. My family inspires me. My clients inspire me. People like leaders. You know, how many of you believe that you're actually a leader? Put your hand up if you think you're a leader. If your hand isn't up, you're lying, because you wouldn't be on this call if you didn't think that you were. So the fact of the matter is that something that I've been taught, and I actually believe for many, many years, probably 30 years, is that teachers are leaders. And I believe that when it comes to the concept of being able to share one's knowledge, it puts us into the status of being a teacher. Now, teachers used to be, only 3 months ago, not very revered as members of society. How many of you would agree with that, that teachers have had a pretty rough time in the last, you know, millennia? Only a few hundred years ago, teachers were actually considered to be more important than doctors. Where did that change? Where did it change? I've got no idea. But it's something else that we can think about. Now, what else? I've got something about what else a bit later on. So guys, as I said, if you've got any questions that you want to bring up and share with me, I'd love you to just throw it out. Well, you don't have to throw it out. Ask it. You can unmute yourselves at any time. I'm not controlling you. We're all responsible, which is a main part of what the whole Oponopono is. Now, let's get that word down right so you can actually say it. Everybody, did you know that if you're muted, if you actually just press the space bar, it will unmute you just for a moment. So everybody just say Ho'oponopono. Go.
Ho'oponopono.
There you go. Do it one more time just because it makes it fun for me. 1, 2, 3.
Ho'oponopono.
Oh, you guys are so clever. Well done. Thank you for that. So, like we did the last time, one of the things that Bridget and I do within all of our gatherings that we have is we set an intention for the night. And so we do it in candles. We actually light candles. We love fire within the family here. And we use candles and the heat and the glow of a candle to brighten and lighten our day on many an occasion. And this is one of those things that if I don't know if you actually have a candle at your ready, or even if you can just want to close your eyes just for a few seconds and just set yourself an intention for the next 45 minutes that we have. It's now just gone 10 past, so probably 40 minutes or so that we'll be together. And you just take a couple of seconds to set it for yourself. Breathe it in. Would anyone like to share what their intention may be for the evening, besides finishing earlier, Alistair?
Clarity.
Clarity, thank you.
Mine was to just really remember the words properly this time. I only remembered 2 lines when I mentioned it today, and to actually be practicing it, really.
Fantastic. Well, we'll do that as well. Thank you for that, Jerry. Who was it that said clarity? I heard the word clarity a couple of minutes ago. I don't know if that was from Bridget.
It was me, Bridget.
Okay, darling, thank you, because I can't see on the screen. So mine is to actually be able to be clear as well and to give you as much as I can within this short time that we have. So let's get straight into it. The best thing to do when coming in after a couple of weeks or even a day of not knowing, Jerry, you said you can't remember some of the things. I'm going to help you with that now. And it's doing a review. So the ancient wisdom from today, the Ho'oponopono, what is it? What do you guys think it is? What do you remember that it is? You can read it on the screen there. I should take that down. There you go. What is it? Can you remember?
Well, I remember that it was about forgiveness and love, self-love and love to others and healing.
Thank you. That's great, Jerry. Anyone else have any ideas what it is? Alistair, do you remember anything about it?
Yeah, it's a release.
A release. Thank you. A release of what?
Release of judgment.
Judgment. Thank you. That's great. It's all definitely part of it. Anyone else have anything else that they wish to share?
Forgiveness. It's about forgiveness for yourself and for others.
Thank you, Bridgie. That's great. Luke, have you got anything?
Forgiveness for, starting with forgiveness for yourself, therefore leading to forgiveness.
Don't tell everyone.
Sorry.
That's all right. Sandra, have you got anything there as well?
For me, it's forgiveness, but before that, for me, was an awareness, really, around that need to do that before moving, before going further down inwards, and then forgiving others. So it was just more for me. It raised awareness for me.
Excellent. Thank you. So basically, it's the concept of making right, to be able to heal rifts that started off within families, in the Hawaiian families, and within their villages and their tribes as such. So what used to happen is they used to find one of the elders. Now, if a rift happened within a family, what they would do is they would find, say, the grandfather or the grandmother, or if they couldn't find somebody like that, they would go to the next person up, which might be one of the town elders. And the best person that they could get, especially if there was somebody that was actually ill in the family, is they would look for one of the priests or one of the Huna priests that was there to be able to do some healing at the same time. So it's a very, very deep spiritual thing. I spoke about it going through nature and healing one's relationships with nature, etc. as well, and also with Great Spirit. So whatever that is for you, you can take that up for yourselves. But for me, as I mentioned, my time in Sedona is a great release for me to be able to go and do that and spend time in those areas where it feels great. Now, why the Ho'oponopono? It's there, as you've all said and shared, it's there to cleanse the space, to correct, to restore, to maintain good relationships with yourself. But it's not something that you do to others. It's actually something that is an inward journey. It's something that you do for yourself. Because if you are going to be responsible for everything that's going on within your space, who do you have to heal? It's a big question, isn't it? Who's there to heal? So if you want to change what's going on around you, Billy Cox says, change what's going on within you. When you read that, what does that bring up for you? If you want to change what's going on around you, change what's going on within you.
Well, it's not what we seem to learn as we're going through life. Certainly not what I learned until much more recently in life.
Right. So thank you, Alistair. That's great. Anyone else have any feelings or perceptions around that?
For me, when I read that, probably similar to Alistair, that it's not about pleasing others or being accountable to others. It's about being in control and being the CEO of your own life. And once you're in control with what's going on within you, then you can then determine what you want to happen around you, maybe.
Yeah, fantastic. That sounds fantastic. I love that. Let's give Alistair and Sandra the clap, everybody. Remember how we did the clap? 1, 2, 3. All right, so you've now been given the first clap for the night. Jerry, you shared before as well, and so did Bridgie. So you girls get the clap as well. Ready? 1, 2, 3. There you go. You guys can have the clap as well. So the ancient Hawaiian thing, what's the process of it? Here we go, Jerry. The 4 steps of awakening. So step number 1 is I'm sorry. Now this is where the concept of awareness comes as well. You know, the concept of realizing that there's victimhood there and it's taking responsibility for a situation, whether it be you against somebody else, or it might be something that you see that's out in your surrounding area that you don't feel right with. You know, it's where empathy comes in as well. There's lots of different aspects about that, but we'll go a bit deeper in a minute. The second was, please forgive me. So that's the awakening step of empowerment. The third was surrender. Thank you. And the fourth is, I love you. Enlightenment. That's when enlightenment comes through. So when we think about it, enlightenment, what does that mean to you? What is the concept of enlightenment? Besides the fact that we're all enlightened warriors, or we've got our lights here in front of us. So, you know, if we all put our candles together, it creates a massive amount of light, doesn't it? But what does enlightenment mean to you? Who wants to share?
Something that's higher than you, above you, being aware of something that is above and beyond you, maybe.
Above and beyond you, thank you. That's great, Jerry. Anyone else have anything else that they want to put in as a concept for that?
So I guess it's a similar feeling, but going deeper, going much deeper into something.
Okay, thank you, Alistair. That's great. So moving on from there, now let's do a bit of a deep dive. Let's go a little bit deeper into each of these. So the step 1 of awakening is I'm sorry. So when we look at the concept of sorry, what does that mean to you? You know, why would we need to be sorry? What are we sorry about? It's a question that was asked of me the other day. You know, why am I sorry for what's going on with John down the road? It's nothing to do with me, but it's affecting you. So can you be sorry? Is it an empathic thing? Yes, it is. But it's also something, if something is triggered, remember that word triggered? If something gets triggered inside of you, in a situation that's happening outside of you, that's something to clean on. That's something to work on. And it actually, the concept of victimhood means that you're not taking responsibility, because you're laying blame, you're justifying it, you're avoiding it. There's all those different aspects about that sort of a concept. So you're playing the victim. So it's a very, very strange starting point, because it means that you actually have to come, you just put your hands out and you say, okay, I'm sorry. Let's move from here. How does that feel for you guys? So have you got any questions on that?
David, when we did this last time in the beginning of June, this one in particular, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I sort of interpreted that as I'm saying sorry to myself for letting myself down, putting myself, feeling I'm not good enough, all those kinds of, you know, not so positive or I can't think of the word. Something. So when I go through these 4 things and I say sorry, I often say that I'm saying sorry, not that I'm sorry, I'm not feeling sorry for myself. I am sorry that I've done this to myself for so long. Is that still okay?
Yes, of course it's okay. There's actually no rights or wrongs in this.
Okay.
Because that's the next step of it. Because the first part of it is to be able to clean oneself, to then be able to clean another. So you have to, be able to acknowledge that. You know, because you can say, I'm sorry. How many of us have kids that when they've done something wrong, you say, apologize to your sister. I'm sorry. No, apologize to your sister. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And sometimes you can be doing all of that, and that actually brings up different emotion. If you were to actually, as an exercise for you to go and do, because the I'm sorry is a very, very powerful two words in our language. Because from saying that, if you were to go and use those words, I'm sorry, and we don't know what we're being sorry for, but you actually just continue saying that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What you'll find is that you will start to shift things within your body. Emotions will start to shift, and you don't even necessarily know where they're shifting from or where they're even coming from. But what it is it's giving you an opportunity to work through that when it does come up. And at that point in time, you might jump through to thank you and be grateful for that opportunity, because all of those sorts of things come up for a reason. That's because they're not dealt with. Remember we spoke about sweeping things under the carpet before? Everyone hold up your dustpan and get your brush and brush it through. But then keep on dusting it out the door so it's gone. Yeah, well done. Thank you. So with regard to that, I was looking for photographs online for I'm sorry, and I found these two brothers. They're actually a Maori, they're Maori brothers. And how many of you have been to New Zealand before and seen how the Maori tribes or people in New Zealand greet each other? You know, it's nose to nose. It's breathing in each other's air. It's very, very, you can't get any closer than that, can you? It's not very COVID friendly, but it's something that is very, very powerful. And if you can get to somebody at that point and say you're sorry and be face to face, belly to belly, it's a very powerful thing. And you can imagine that's yourself looking in the mirror. So Sandra, that could be that scenario.
David, I was at an event once and we did this, what's it called again?
Oponopono?
No, the forehead to the nose thing.
Oh yes. So it's a greeting. It's a respect thing. There's lots.
I can't remember the name of it, but we did that as a test at an event, and we had to do it with a stranger, and it was very, very confronting. I tell you, it was a very interesting exercise. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to give you the opportunity between now and the next time we see each other to do it with yourself, because it's a real test of presence to be able to do that. And you don't have to stick your nose on the mirror, but the closer you get, the more you see. Trust me when I say that. So anyway, we don't have a huge amount of time, so I'm going to actually flick through this a little bit faster if that's okay. All right, so the deep dive, the second part of the awakening is empowerment. Please forgive me. Now, Sandra was saying that she was trying to ask for forgiveness of herself, which is a really important part of it. But who's heard of the concept of karma? The Buddha's concept of karma. Who's ever had karma come and hit them in the back of the head? Yeah? No? Sandra's never had it? You lucky girl. That you know of. So that's a good thing. But with regard to the concept of please forgive me and karma, I actually had a client come in last week. She'd had an experience where she had bleached her hair, not once, not twice, but 3 times, because she wanted to have her hair a very pale lilac color. Now, her hair was black. She's Indian, and she's very dark Indian as well. So how do you think her hair fared after all of that? Not very well. We cut it from down near her bum to about as long as Jerry's hair is now. And it still has a lot of work to do. And that was on Saturday. And her mother was so funny, because her mother came in with her, because this young girl is only 18 and she doesn't have any money. And she said to her mum, "Mum, I'm really sorry." And her mum just put up her hands like this and went, "It's karma." So it was very funny. So with that in mind, that's just another part of the story. Looking at the concept of empowerment, this is where you actually have the choice. You've got the opportunity to choose where you want to go from here, because you're asking for forgiveness, and it's giving you the chance to get to the crossroad and either walk away from something or walk the other way and or go straight and meet it head on. So if you're going in to meet the opportunities head on and deal with them, it's going to give you, what do you think that you would get if you actually deal with these processes as they come up? What do you think it's going to do to your brain, to your insides, to the way you feel? What's it going to do for you?
Lighter.
You're going to feel lighter, definitely. Anyone else got any idea what you may feel after that?
More calm, definitely more calm.
Fantastic.
And more considered in decisions, I think.
Fantastic. So you're coming from actually a state of being in power as well as empowered. Right? So you're coming from a state of being able to be grounded. So it's very, very powerful. So a little picture there, if I forgive you. The third level is for going for the little deep dive, is surrender. Why do you think they call that surrender when you say thank you?
Because you're kind of opening yourself up, and you are surrendering a bit by fully acknowledging someone else or something, I guess, maybe.
Yep, fantastic. That's very, very true. So that is part of it, definitely. But you have the choice how you're going to be through this at that point in time. Because when you say thank you, it actually allows you to stand strong in yourself as well and move forward. It gives you the choice of how you want to be in this scenario. And it's also at this point in time, if you're doing it for yourself, you've gone through and you've said you're sorry, whether it be to yourself or whether it be Great Spirit or whether it be somebody else that doesn't even know you're doing it. When you surrender and you thank them, it opens you up. As Jerry said, it actually opens you up to allow things to come in because you've got rid of the blocks. You've opened up, you've acknowledged, and your hands go here after that. When your hands are there, you're saying thank you, you're acknowledging them, you're open. Your hands, when they come apart, they go open. So it's going to allow things in for you. The fourth thing is, I don't know what happened to 1 and 2 there, but I'm sure they'll come up in a second. Enlightenment. This is where we're talking about the concept of your awakening of I love you. So who is it that you love? Who is it that you love? It can be for yourself. But something about enlightenment is this is where the whole concept of being without ego comes in. It comes down to authenticity. It comes down to being able to be, I'm trying to think of the word. For me, once you've come to that stage of enlightenment, it means, for me, that's when my calm and my peace comes. How many of you have heard of this statement of peace of mind? What does peace of mind mean to you, Alistair?
It means a calm mind, a mind that is empty, not because there's nothing valuable in it, but because there nothing needs to be in it.
Great. And what happens when there is a void? What happens to a void?
Well, whatever I choose.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Anyone else have any idea as to what peace of mind is to them? Okay, because peace of mind to me, sorry, was anyone about to say something? I missed that.
I was going to say, I always get confused whether it's peace of mind like PEACE or I'll give you a piece of my mind like PIECE.
Yeah,
So,
well, what do you think it is?
well, I think it's PEACE.
Right. So what do either of those? Well, they're actually at opposing ends, aren't they? They're like a seesaw. I'm going to give you a piece of my mind. You wait till your father gets home. Well, I'm just saying what these things might be for people. You know, I can't believe you did that. I'm going to give you a piece of my mind. When does that come up? What sort of state are you in when somebody says, I'm going to give you a piece of my mind?
Agitation.
Frustration, anger, all of those sorts of things. So as I said, you're at one complete opposite end of the scale from the other sort of peace of mind. So when something comes up and you have peace of mind, and something comes up that may have normally, pissed you off or ticked you off, what do? You just did it then, Jerry, believe it or not. You did this. Oh, well. You remember those words, Alistair? Who told us those words at one of those crazy things that we were at?
Was it Margene first?
It was Margene. Yeah? Oh, well. Everyone just put your hands up like this and go, oh, well. Oh, well. Doesn't really affect you. So the other thing about having that state of enlightenment is, that's when, how do I say this without it being shoo-shoo foo-foo? It's at that point that God sends messages, or Great Spirit can send you messages because you're open for them, because there's nothing in. That's when moments of brilliance come. How often do you have a moment of brilliance? Put up your hand. Who wants to share a moment of brilliance they've had in the last week, last month, last year, last decade, lifetime? We've all had them. Don't be shy. This is the time for you to get out and just blurt them out. Bridget, have you had any moments of brilliance? She's doing something else.
I have actually.
Oh, when were they?
I had one about 20 minutes ago.
Oh, cool. Do you want to share it with us?
Sure. I'm on a committee for with a group of women who support a community in India called Samorgan Australia, and we usually hold 2 charity events each year, fundraising events. And last year we hit a rocket where we hosted a fundraising dinner, and it was such a success that this year we were going to probably double the amount of people, probably double the size of the event this year. But because of COVID, we're obviously not going to be doing that. But so I had just had this moment. What?
Yes.
Yeah, well, anyway, we're not planning for that this year. It will definitely be again next year. But so I had this moment of brilliance where, how do we keep our community connected with us? Like, how do they stay connected to why we do this? So I thought to myself, well, we could just get online and do a live call with Bruno, who runs the orphanages and supports the kids. And we could do a live, Zoom call with him, and for him to share his story, and for us to connect with our community, and, our cause sort of stays alive and they get to connect with him. So that was my moment.
Fantastic. Let's all give Bridget the clap. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Thank you. So who else has had a moment of brilliance in the last short time? We've lost I don't know if Luke was able to share because his microphone wasn't working, Alistair said earlier on. But I'm sure we all have moments of brilliance every day. But sometimes those moments of brilliance come in the state when we are in that other state, at the other side of the seesaw, when we're really resourceful because we're in anger, or we're in frustration, or we have to get this shit done. How many of you have been in that state in the last month or so, where you've just got that much stress and pressure on you that you have to become resourceful to be able to work your way through it? But is that peace of mind? Is there an easier way of doing it? Perhaps. They're both really important. I'm not saying one is better than the other. I just know which one I prefer to try and work from. Which one do you try to work from, or would you prefer to work from? You don't have to answer that as a question. It's just a rhetorical question there for you. So I'll just come back to my screen again, if I may. Share again. Okay. So with regard to that, the state of I love you, that's when it actually starts to live with grace as well. That's when you're starting to be a bit more chilled, and people come to you and think, gee, why are you happy? Gee, you look happy. And you go, thank you. And in the meantime, what else have you got running in the background? The rest of the mantra, the rest of the words behind you. So working from there, I don't know if you remember, that's those same brothers from before. Who remembers that I actually said there was a 5th step to this awakening? I mentioned it really early on. I said there's 4 steps, and then when I did that, this was in the last call, I said actually there's a 5th step, but we'll get to that another time. Do you remember when I said that? Just say yes. All right, because I said that then, and I'm going to share it with you now. Who wants to know what it is? No. Who wants to know what it is? I can't hear you. Who wants to know what the 5th step is?
Yes, please.
Me.
Oh, come on. Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Yes, please. Why don't we have a bit more enthusiasm? Who wants to know what the next one is?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's it. That's about all I'm going to get out of you guys tonight. So the next step is, after the first 4, let's just run through the sentences again. Number 1 is I'm sorry. Number 2, please forgive me. Number 3, thank you. Number 4, I love you. The 5th one is, drum roll please, I forgive myself. It's that simple. Now, if you actually use that as a state, how do you think that's going to make you feel? Because from coming from this stage of life, when you say to yourself, you know what? I have made a mistake. I have mucked up. I have, what's the other word that rhymes with mucked? Go on, who's got the courage to say it out there?
Mucked up.
Who?
Fucked.
Fuck. Let's all say it as though Graham Kennedy was saying it. Do you remember Graham Kennedy? When he used to talk about his what were the big black birds that fly around, the crows? He'd go, what do they say? They go, fuck. You remember that? Who remembers Graham Kennedy?
I'm too young.
You are too young. We'll fix that the next time. Anyway, the concept is that when you can come from that starting point, Louise Hayes says, as I forgive myself, it's easier to forgive others. There you go. You've got the book right in front of you. Do you want to find the page and tell us what else she says about that saying?
Tom, I will. She's phenomenal. She's phenomenal.
She is phenomenal. Everyone say phenomenal 3 times really quickly. 1, 2, 3. Phenomenal, phenomenal,
Phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal.
Sounds like Oponopono, doesn't it? Kind of. So from looking at the concept of that, when you get to the stage of I forgive myself, that allows you to actually be able to then forgive others. It also creates the opportunity for you to be able to create space, to create grace, and to be able to recognize the light in others as well. Because often there is, how many of you have ever experienced somebody that's got a very, very dark side, or they come across it, they're very flat, they're low, and there's Pooh Bear, I call them Pooh Bears, you know, got the little black grey cloud over their head.
Eeyore has the grey cloud over his head.
Does he? Thank you.
The donkey, yeah.
I know who Eeyore is, thank you. And what happens to that little grey cloud?
Stays with him all the time.
Does it? But do you think Pooh Bear knows that there's a bit of light in there? Or a lot of light in there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And so it takes a Pooh Bear in your life to be able to pull you out of the grey clouds or the shit sometimes. How many of you have a friend that you know that you can just rely on and call upon at any time? That when something is not going right with you, all of a sudden you get a text message, or you get a phone call, or you get just a spiritual message from them. They might say, wake up! Or it might say, are you okay? How many of you have one of those people in your life? How many of you have more than one? They're your blessings. You only need one. If you have one, you're very blessed, in my opinion. If you have many, you are completely blessed. So that sort of thing, I believe, comes from being that sort of person for other people. And when you come from the space of being able to forgive oneself and to clear one's head, to be able to allow the light to come in, that's what you will see. in other people.
It's amazing how often you'll ring a friend and it was just the right time to ring them. You know, like one friend, we can go months without talking to each other, but it never feels like that. And the last time I rang her, it's always like I know when to ring, and she goes, "Thanks for ringing today because my grandma just passed away." I'm like,
Wow.
oh my God, of all the times that I would ring, like you just know, I think, there's some things.
Very interesting. Thank you for sharing that, Jerry. So in saying that, that's as long as she got out, I'm so glad you've rung, you know, because my grandmother just died and you weren't ringing up for that $100 you'd lent her 2 weeks before. However, Great Spirit knows that you were meant to ring at that time, or something made you ring at that time to be able to create some light for somebody else. That's what I think for me is a major part of this whole Oponopono. It's allowing me to be able to, you know, remember I told you about our lighthouse? And where do you start at the lighthouse? To get into the lighthouse, you start at the bottom door. So it's 8:45 at the minute. Have I got 7 or 8 more minutes of your time? I'm asking permission for it. If not, I'll just have to come back in a few weeks again. So, and that's
I'll approve 7 minutes.
All right, thank you. So moving on from there, I mentioned earlier on that Alistair has been helping me over the last few weeks with a couple of websites and domains, and one of them is actually called The Business of Being. This is something that I've been working on forever. It used to be called Metamorphosis, which is my business name. You know, emphasis here is short for metamorphosis. And my first business was Cocoon, so I keep on growing and changing. And this is the next entity of that. It's called The Business of Being, and it's looking at being able to bring passion and love and purpose back into your business and relationships. So something that I was doing earlier on today is I was working. Who knows what that is? What is it, Alistair?
It is getting things done.
It is getting things done. It's a star. I was looking for the right star. It's not the right star that I was looking for, but it's definitely a star. It's actually called the Star of David.
I was going to joke that, but you are serious.
I am serious. It is called the Star of David. So one of the things that's coming up within this new business model is that it's going to be a process, and there's a 6-step process. And the process is to be able to take score. So if you were thinking about this within the whole Oponopono, what do you think that's doing? Taking score. It's a matter of going through and doing a personality check on yourself, seeing where you're at, and really being very, very honest and working through those things. The next part of the process is actually cleaning up. Working on cleaning up. Now, whether that be within your business, it might be cleaning up broken agreements, it might be cleaning up messes that you may have with tax, it might be cleaning up the space. It could be as simple as cleaning the glove box in your car. But it's going through the processes of looking where you need to work and what you need to do next. And then there's a process of forgiveness. Now, forgiveness is multifaceted. How many of you believe that there's lots of different levels of forgiveness? Forgiveness of self, forgiveness of spirit, forgiveness of past partners, for lovers, for your kids, for whatever it will be for you. There are many, many different levels. But one of the things about forgiveness, and we'd already spoken about it with Sandra, saying, you know, she thought it was about herself, working for herself first. But the concept is that this forgiveness is for when you get to the state of being done. I'm done. How many of you got to the stage of saying, I'm done with this. I can't do this anymore. I'm not able to do this. It's just not working. So getting to that stage, and I've got a few processes that you'd be working through within that to get to that stage and to be able to work through those with ritual and things like that to be able to get to the other side. Because what's on the other side of forgiveness? Freedom. Fantastic. Thank you.
Peace.
The next thing is looking forward. So at that point in time, it's going to be starting to sit down and look at how you make your plan, setting your systems to be able to move forward structurally, metaphysically, spiritually, emotionally, financially. All of those lees are going to get in there. All those Chinese, will be like a Chinese phone book. Do they have those anymore? There's going to be lots of Lees in there. So looking forward is the next step within there. But then from there, it's looking at the different intelligences. Spiritual intelligence, emotional intelligence, physical and business intelligence, your financial intelligences, working through all of those different things and giving you areas to be able to find where you feel that you are in those things and celebrating those things that are working and enhancing those that aren't. And the final thing within that is to actually build your tribe around you. How many of you have a tribe that works with you? You know, now your tribe may be your family tribe, it may be your work tribe, it may be your footy tribe, it might be your tribe of advisors.
All for one and one for all is a tribe.
All for one and one for all is a tribe, definitely is. So looking at all those different tribes and bringing them together for community. Now, from all of these things, the things that are going to come from it would be the ability to have peace of mind, to be in love with yourself, with your business, with your staff, with all of those things that you need to do, with your processes. Joy. How many of you love to be in a state of joy all the time? How many of you like to be happy and to play, to have time to play? Now, play can be adult play, can be child's play, can be game play. There's lots of different sorts of play. But being able to come from that state of, I call it childhood wonder. How many of you would like, you know, we see our kids out there playing and they look at the sky and they look at a tree. You know, one of my favorite times ever in my life was when our son Jesse was, I think, we were in the house. He was 5 years old. And over the road from our property is this most phenomenal oak tree. And it was the middle of winter. And we had the window open. Bridget was on one side of the bed, I was in the other, and he was in the middle. And we were just, I think we were reading, and he was just watching the trees out there blowing in the wind. And he looked at us both and he said, Mama, Dada, the trees are dancing. The trees are dancing. Now that's childhood wonder. How many of you would like to be able to come from that state of innocence and wonder? How many of you would feel that would be something that would make your heart sing? Great. Passion, purpose, community and contribution. They're the things that we'll actually be working on through that process. So if there was any of those areas that you feel could be enhanced as well, I honour your feedback. I'd love your feedback, and I'd love to be able to work a couple of people through this process to be able to get the feedback. So that's just something that you know, an offering from me for you. If you'd like to take me up on that, I'd love to work with you. Now, I don't know if you've got time for the song, but you remember Karen. We won't go through it now, but look for it online. She's there. Did any of you actually download the playlist that I sent?
I just played the song over and over and over and over on YouTube. There's a playlist on YouTube you can listen to. And I just went, I reckon it was in my sleep. It just was like hypnotic.
It is.
Really nice.
Fantastic. I'm so happy for you. I'm really happy for you.
I'm going to try it tonight, going to sleep.
Try it tonight. There's actually a sexy version as well. We won't play it, all right? But that's what you know it is. Now, just to finish off, basically it all comes down to your level of what? What do you think it is? Your level of what? What are you going to get out of becoming a self-master of this process? What do you think you're going to get?
For me, I think it would be awareness and compassion.
Awareness and compassion. Thank you. That's amazing.
Acceptance.
Hey?
Acceptance.
Acceptance. Thank you. Thank you, Bridgie. What do you think you're going to, what do you think it all comes down to for you, Jerry? Hit your space bar, girl. Hit your space.
I was hitting my space bar and it's making something on my upper screen change. For me, I think it's just about the commitment to yourself, to the time to do it, the creating the opportunity, the ease, and just making it part of your ritual and everything. It's a big it doesn't have to be a big commitment, but to me, I have to make commitments to myself to do things like that.
Fantastic, thank you. So when are you going to do that?
Tonight.
Fantastic. Alistair, what does it come down to you? The level of what?
Ask the full question again. You lost me there with the level of...
Right, so basically it all comes down to your level of what?
Well, the word that came to me was commitment. I don't know if I got it.
Fantastic.
Okay.
For me, happiness. You know, I love to be happy. I like to bring that out in people. And so that's one of the things for me. So the questions that I want to leave you with, write them down if you want. What makes you happy? Who makes you happy? That's who makes me happy. And why does it make you happy? The most important question there is, how do you make you happy? And then, how do you make others happy? Can you make others happy if you're not really happy yourself? How many of you have seen the sad clown? Or the sad comedian? They're as funny as fuck. They're really funny, but they're really sad. You know, the things that bring that up in them is often not the thing that's happy. However, listen, can you hear anything? It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. If ever you're not feeling happy, can you hear me over the music? Just get up and dance. Move your body. We used to dance to this every week, every day, multiple times a day when it first came out, because I'm happy. So add this to your playlist of your Oponopono songs, because it's one of the keys, and it's one of the, for me, it's actually the key. Because if you can come from that state, it means that there's stuff that's actually allowing you. And it's not talking about happiness from drugs or alcohol or sex or other addictions. It's happiness that comes from here. It's happiness that comes from here, from your balls. It comes from all of those areas. And it's just keeping you complete and whole. All right? So happiness and whole, or wholly happy. So guys, I just want to say thank you for allowing me to come and be on with you. I have gone an extra 12 minutes, Alistair. I do apologize. But you know what, guys? That's it. I haven't got more. I've got so much more that I would love to be able to share with you again. However, not tonight. So
I forgive you.
Thank you. I love you. Now, one other thing, just before I do go, somebody asked me the question during the week, what's the order? Is there an order? Because they'd seen it on different posts where somebody was saying, please forgive me, I'm sorry, thank you, I love you, or I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. Guess what? There's actually no correct order, but work around with the different orders. Put them into different orders for yourself and just see what comes up. Because as I said with Sandra earlier on, when you say something, it will bring something up for you.
And do you add that fifth element as well?
You can, or you might just do that by yourself.
Yeah.
You know, I forgive myself. That can just be something. Now, these are things that actually, as you practice them, it's a practice. They will become more and more part of your daily ritual. You've mentioned the word ritual. And you can do it for a minute, or you can do it all day. And eventually the mind will play that around in its own self. That will become your new state of norm. So that's for my wish for you, that you get a new state of norm that keeps you feeling very, very joyous, happy, complete, and whole. And if I can just read, there's a little paragraph. It's got 60 words in it from Dr. Len, who's the guy that created all of this. The only problem with human beings is that they are arrogant, because that's what thinking is. This is in essence, I know. Wisdom is being in the void, to be thoughtless. Only by being in the void can the light come through. As long as I have something going on in my mind, the light can't come through. The light can only come in when the mind is cleared in a state of silence, peace of mind. So guys, I wish you a state of silence and a peace of mind. And blessings to you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
David.
Thank you, David.
Loved it. Thank you.
If there's anything that you want to ask, please just put a message to me within the Facebook group, and I appreciate all of your time from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. As many of you know, this is a regular occurrence. Every Monday night is the All for One, One for All community night, as we call it. Anyone can get on and have a chat, talk to us about anything that you like. As we know, we never expected something like this, David. So we do actually have a spot free still for next week. So if anyone wants to present June 29th, please do let us know. We've gotten a little bit behind on our scheduling. So let us know, get in touch, join the All for One community at bit.ly/all-for-one-community with the number 4 there. And we'd love to see you in the community or on one of these at Monday night calls, 8 p.m. Melbourne time. Thanks everyone for joining us.
Thanks, Jay.
Thanks.
Thanks, Al. Thanks, Sandra.
Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.